Well, hello and welcome to another episode of HR Tech Chat. I am your host, Jennifer Dole, and this is a podcast where we talk about all things HR tech and the future of how people are using it. Today, I have a couple guests with me, one you know very well, Larry McAlister. Welcome back. So excited to have you here.
Welcome to be here. Thank you.
And Larry, do you want to invite our new guest today?
Sure. Our new guest, Josh Irmler, who is the L&D consultant, but really the CEO and founder of Landdai, which is literally a HR L&D department in a 2-minute set, right? One button and you'll have a deck of training in 2 minutes. You can drink coffee slower than you can build an AI deck with Landdai. So I'm happy to have Josh here. We met about last year when Gen AI was really taking off, and Josh, who has 20 years in OD and L&D experience, said, I have an idea. I'm going to be able to build a deck and build training and build onboarding programs in the blink of an eye. So we're so happy to have Josh here to talk about really what we think the future of learning is in this market and in this generation of AI and this golden age of HR technology. So welcome, Josh. We're so happy to have you here.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me. I'm looking forward to this, Jen. Thank you so much for having me on the podcast. I'm really looking forward to our conversation.
So let's start with that really big question, Josh. What is the future of learning?
I believe within the context of generative AI, one of the things I've been thinking a lot about over the last 12 months is how can we leverage generative artificial intelligence to specifically meet needs that we have as L&D professionals. And so when I think about a lot of what we wrestle with as learning and development professionals, a few of the things that come to mind when I think about creating content specifically for this world is how do we create this content faster, because a lot of times it takes so much time to develop these programs, develop these courses. So speed becomes a very big issue. How do we do this quicker? I think there's another element that is important to think about, and that's cost. It's so expensive sometimes to create these courses, especially if we're doing e-learning and the technology that's involved with it. And then lastly, there's this element of quality. How do we get this content to even be more customized and personalized? And so when I think about artificial intelligence, specifically within the context of the learning and development world, what I'm most excited about is the fact that I really believe artificial intelligence, generative AI, is going to allow us to address all three of those issues at the exact same time, where we're able to create content, we're able to create trainings, upskilling programs that are happening. We can do this faster. I believe we can do this less expensively, and we can do it in a way that really is more custom and personalized than ever before. And typically the solutions we've seen in the past could do one of those things, possibly two, but we really haven't had the technological advancements to be able to do all three of these things at once. And so there's a lot of implications to that, but I think at its very core, the ability to solve all those problems at the same time is pretty exciting.
I agree. I mean, I think you hit on three of the major things that I hear from learning and development professionals when it comes to content, because it's just in these agile organizations that we have created or we've been forced to create, the content changes.
Exactly.
And you have to be able to respond to that, right?
Absolutely. I think there's two elements to think of too when we talk about being agile, to be personalized, customized. The way I like to define it is I like to think of custom content being custom to whatever organization is creating these training materials. And so for so long, many of the solutions have been more generic in nature, to where, it was kind of one size fits all. But as we're getting more agile and as there are more specific needs that each organization has, and we have to really get customized with the content we create, it's really hard to do that at scale. until now generative AI. It's allowing us to customize to the content. But then there's another element, not just customizing content to the needs of a particular organization. But I think another thing that AI is going to make possible is not just to customize the content, but also to personalize it to the individual learner. And this is something that has just never been possible before because of the amount of cost and time that would be involved to create literally personalized training for each and every one of your users. But now with artificial intelligence and generative AI, in theory, we could technically create training courses. We can create upskilling programs that have been tailor-made, not just to an organization, but also to an individual user, so that their learning styles, their learning preferences, even to some degree, their learning disabilities could be taken into account when these e-learning courses are being created, because the artificial intelligence will know these things if we give them those permissions, and it can create this content through the filter of personalizing it to the individual user, as well as customizing it to the specific organization that is leveraging it. And I think it's really exciting that now these things are possible, because in the past you couldn't have afforded to hire an instructional designer to create a custom and personalized course for every individual employee in your company. But now with artificial intelligence, that is now a future that is becoming reality.
Yeah, the idea of just building one big training course that everyone goes to, and you hope every single person learns from that one idea, is an impossible dream that we had to use. There's no other way to do it. Now with AI, we can literally say, we're going to build this portion of the course for this population, or specifically for you, right? What is the way you want to learn? And the idea of speed. So now Josh is talking about building a program at speed, right? Delivering it to you in 9 different versions or 150,000 different versions. That's one part of speed. The other part of speed is, I need to learn something today, right? Humans, adult learners, need to learn it today, when they want it, exactly when they need it, on demand almost. And putting those two speed options together is really where we are. I mean, we're not going to have to go to training. AI is bringing it all to me. Everything is a personalized assistant to me, and Landdai really helps.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people are worried that AI is going to replace them.
Yeah.
The one thing I say though about that is, some jobs will be replaced, some things will be replaced. But the idea of someone who really knows how to use this technology is going to replace someone who doesn't know how to use technology. Yes. That's the big difference. So harnessing it, tech augmented leadership is where the future is. And so embracing this kind of stuff, and Josh could talk about this better than me, is really where the next step is. Taking the fear out of technology is where we are. We're right at the brink of that right now.
The metaphor that I like to use sometimes is that this conversation has actually happened over and over throughout history. So I think about when we used to be an agrarian culture, 100, 150 years ago, where everybody was basically farmers, and then all of a sudden somebody came out and invented the tractor. And it was like, oh no, all of us farmers are going to be out of business. Well, yes, to some degree, there was some movement that happened, but in the whole scheme of things, what it did was created opportunities for people to leverage their skills and abilities in brand new endeavors and to be innovative in different ways. And so the same thing happened when the car came out. Well, all the blacksmiths were like, where are we going to get our money from? We used to make horseshoes for all the horses and so this is just a normal part of human evolution. And there's always this fear that, oh no, this is going to wipe out all the jobs. To some degree it might, but for those who are listening to this podcast, what that means is you already are on the forefront of innovation. You're already thinking about how to be agile, even in your own personal career. So if you're listening to this, you're probably not somebody who has to actually be worried about that, because like, Larry said, AI is not going to take your job, but somebody who is leveraging AI, They might. The people I'm concerned about are the people who are ignoring all of this. And now 36 months from now, 48 months from now, because they haven't, adopted some of these technologies and learned how to use these technologies. Yes, those individuals probably do have something to fear, not because of AI, but because all the people who are going to be adopting this technology in a way that makes them so much more productive. The average person just won't be able to keep up, with somebody who is leveraging this technology.
Yeah, I certainly think there's a lot of L&D professionals out there kind of geeking out about AI and trying to figure out how to talk about it within their business. Maybe the CEO comes to them and says, how does this impact us? Like, what are some words of advice for that L&D person in speaking to their executives about the future of learning and AI and how they can incorporate it more into L&D and bring it into the business and not have people be afraid of it?
Yeah,
Well,
I
I'll
think.
just say two words before Josh, because
Go
he
ahead.
just said it earlier. Speed and cost. Speed and cost. Faster and cheaper. Has that not been what we've always been after since we were born? Do it faster, do it cheaper. Do it faster, do it cheaper. And as Josh said earlier, with high quality now. Now high quality is the best option. So Josh, I'll let you go from there.
Yeah, no, I think especially when you're talking with the executives, that's a language that they would definitely understand. And then I think as you're talking to some maybe middle managers to help them with some very real tools, there are so many amazing generative AI tools out there. Of course, I'm the CEO of one of those tools, but there are dozens and dozens of tools that can make you so much more effective, as you're developing things. There are now AI tools to create training videos. There are now AI tools to create entire, trackers where they can create and write out, transcribe all of your meetings and even meetings you're not attending. And so that's super, super helpful. And I think just looking at ways to making your life more efficient and better by leveraging these tools is a great way to frame it. Because I don't know about you, I know for me, I like to think of the ability, a future where I have a life outside of work, because I have hobbies and I have family and I have friends. And as much as I love the work that I get to do, I like to take a very holistic approach to life. And so by allowing artificial intelligence to take care of those more mundane, kind of what I would refer to as busy work activities, that allows me more margin and time to really focus on those things that I'm most passionate about, the things that I really get excited about, and be able to produce those things more quickly at even better quality, so that I have the margin for having that balance at home and having that balance in my everyday life, that hopefully we can create a more holistic success as we leverage AI to do the more ordinary and mundane tasks that most of us maybe don't want to do.
Yeah. Well, that just reminds me of a conversation that Larry and I have all the time, which is AI gets you to the conversation faster.
Yes,
Right?
that's
And
good.
there's still a really big human element at work and at work in using AI. And, if you can take away some of that mundane work and get to that conversation, how much better the relationships are, the collaboration is, the innovation is.
Absolutely.
Well, we used to talk about intelligent quotient, IQ, and then emotional quotient, EQ. That's an old term, right? And it was sort of blurred because there was no way to differentiate those two things. You're a human being, you're doing both at the same time. But now, with the AI we're talking about, your intelligence quotient is so much higher because of these tools in your back pocket. So the human is always going to have to bring the EQ and bring these tools with them to have better conversations, faster conversations with more actionable items. And that's the beauty of it. I mean, I think that's the most important thing. Landdai and others, you have 5 of these tools in your back pocket. Automatic metrics, a tool that's looking at you and telling you on your Zoom call, are you talking too fast? How many times did you say all these things around you instantly personalized is making you a better leader, making you a better employee. And as Josh said, making you a better human, right? We just learn so much faster now. It's so much easier to learn and get better. We're in the golden age for sure.
Yeah. And I think a lot of the assumptions that we've made or the feelings that we've brought forward at work can now be kind of validated through AI, right? Like I think about my backgrounds in performance and succession, and women have always said, I'm not getting the same feedback that my male counterparts are getting. And it's been so hard to validate that feeling. But now with AI, you can look at the comments in performance reviews and it's true, right? We're talking to men about strategy and vision, and we're talking to women about execution and operations. And so I think too, like that's hopeful for us, right? So it's like taking away that mundane work, kind of looking at data in a completely different and objective way is helpful. And it does impact us, right? It in a positive way.
Well, the democratization of data, democratization of tools, right? It takes the idea that I'm building something probably for me, right? Humans build stuff for themselves and they hope everybody else gets it. What we're doing now with this kind of AI, psychometrics, how do you want to learn? How do you want to learn? What do you want to learn? What do you need, no matter who you are, right? It levels the playing field with these kind of tools.
Yeah, that personalization, if we could just go hit on that again, I mean, that's a game changer, isn't it? For
Absolutely.
learning.
Yes, we like to say that we're trying to do for learning and development training resources what Chipotle did for burritos, right? Everybody standing in line gets their own burrito. They don't have to go and get the one that the person in front of them got. But for so long, that's how learning and development happened because the economics of it was the only way it was feasible. And so now with artificial intelligence, we have this incredible opportunity to scale like never before. To think about it from a high level, for hundreds of years, education has been built around a model that there is one teacher for 25 to 40 students. And we understand why that was the case. It was the only way to make it financially possible. You had a teacher, you paid them, and you get enough students in there, and the economics of it worked out. Now, what we're finding in corporate world over the last 10 or 15 years through kind of the Bloom studies and others is that one-on-one is really where there's effectiveness. You get a coach or a consultant and they are coaching, consulting, mentoring one other individual. And we're now seeing that some of the best results when it comes to human development or behavioral modification, that people are really changing their behaviors in the context of work in a one-on-one case. However, what if we could totally flip the script where it used to be one teacher for 30 or 40 students? Now, because of AI and our ability to clone these personas or avatars as teachers, now we can come along and give every one student theoretically a dozen teachers, where this one teacher now has not only been fine-tuned and trained in whatever scholastic discipline, such as, whatever it is they're trying to learn, but they also are fine-tuned in the way that that individual person needs to learn. So it's not just the customization of content, it is literally the customization of the teacher, which I think is absolutely fascinating when we talk about this.
That's all I have to say.
Even on ChatGPT, right? With ChatGPT, which is the most, I guess, widely available, generative AI, you can say things like, you are a 5-person board of directors for me, and you have 5 different personas. Give me advice on a marketing plan. And you get 5 different recommendations like that. And what Josh is talking about, imagine that for students or adults, how to learn. My God, how many people got left behind because they had either a learning disability or it wasn't right for them the way that the school teacher went. So we're in an entirely new world of learning.
Yes, absolutely. We are. Yes, we are. So Josh, if more people want to find out about what you're doing, where can they find you? How can they learn?
Yeah, I'd love for them to grab my book. In fact, I told you earlier I'd make it available to anybody in your audience, and we'll make it available for them for free. So if they want to go to Landdai, that's LANDDAI redefining.com/free book. And that's for your audience. They can download the book that I wrote on this subject. It's called The AI Edge, How to Gain the Competitive Advantage by Leveraging Generative AI. I think you even mentioned you could throw that in the show notes. So check us out at landdai.com for more details about the solution that we have. We have a solution for individuals, but we also have an enterprise solution that'll create entire e-learning courses. It'll create entire upskilling programs. And as Larry said, it'll do it all in less than 2 minutes, among a lot of other great resources that are out there. And then, of course, LinkedIn. I'd love to connect with you there at Joshua Irmler in LinkedIn. And so we'd love to continue this conversation, and however we can help you as individuals or help entire organizations. We come in to do consulting on the subject of generative AI, and we'd love to help you really bring your organization into this new age of artificial intelligence. And so if our consulting can help anybody out there, we'd love to be a help in any way we can.
Amazing. And Larry, where can people find you?
Yeah, LinkedIn's the best place. The book will be out right around the time that this podcast drops. So look for the book, The Power to Transform, and connect with me.
Very good. And of course, we'll be at HR Tech. 360 Insights will be there, and we'd love to bump into you as well. So Josh, thank you so much for joining us today and talking about the future of learning and how AI impacts it. This was really insightful and really mind-blowing. The personalization thing, I'm going to think about that for a few more days, I think. That's really cool. And Larry, as always, thank you so much for showing up and popping in and sharing your wisdom. This is a great podcast. It's gone by way too fast. I think we can continue talking about the possibilities here for a long time, but we're at the end of time, and we just want to, have our listeners and our audience get a peek at how other people are thinking about this. So thank you for joining us, and we'll catch you again on another episode of HR Tech Chat.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jen.